should already be wearing a satin bonnet, because if you're wearing a cotton bonnet, where did you even get that from? Where'd you get that from? Welcome to my channel, Urban Locs, where we discuss all things from social security checks, retirement funds, bingo, casino, all that. It's like, no, that's just how I feel with these good Bantu knots in that I just did, you guys. In this video, we're actually going to be addressing lint. Let's get down to business. We're going to be addressing that pesky lint. Prevention is key when it comes to the lint that gets stuck into your lock. So we're going to get down to some serious business today. I have about a total of 10 tips or so, and that's tips in regards to prevention and tips in regards to fixing your issue, a solution for your lock lint. Actually, before we even get into the list, let's just go over some of the basics here about lint and what lint is, and your dust, your environmental debris, and all that stuff, which is ultimately what gets stuck in our locks. And we're the chosen ones, we're the lucky ones, because, you know, we don't get to comb our hair out every day, brush our hair out. So the lint that just normally floats around in the air, all the dust, like, you would never even notice how much stuff is just floating around. Lint is usually a combination of fibers coming from your clothes, your sweaters, your bed sheets, cotton, all that stuff. And it mixes with, you know, dead skin cells, hair, pet hair, dirt, all that. So it's just regular environmental things that, you know, we go through on a daily basis that we would just never realize are landing in our head. It lands in everybody's head. Everybody has lint. If you got loose natural hair, you got white people hair, you got black people hair, you got Hispanic hair, whatever you have lint in your hair. The only difference is us in the lock community, obviously we don't comb our hair out, so that lint can get stuck in our locks if we're not cautious. Bottom line is, there's just not much that we can do in the world to prevent, you know. Okay, damn, this light got me looking right pale. I should have came from another angle. Hold on, we trying to fix something. All right, so we not fooling nobody. Obviously the light's a little orange now, but I feel like, oh no. Just need a little bit of saturation, please. So the number one way, the number one maximum thing is, I won't even say number one. These are in no particular order. This one is a very obvious solution / prevention measure, and that is to wear your bonnet. Wear your bonnet or wear your scarf, whatever you do, but wrap it up. Wrap it up, okay? First of all, don't be outside cleaning. Don't be inside cleaning. Don't be in the bed laying around wrestling, whatever you do in the bed. Don't be doing none of that without your hair being covered up, because once again, you're outside doing gardening work. I don't know, whatever you're doing. All that dust, all that debris, where do you think it's going? It's going up in the air, and it's gonna land wherever it wants to land. And if your head happens to be there, that's where your head happens to be, okay? Cotton scarves, sweaters, sheets, shirts, towels, all that are terrible in regards to your locks and lints and causing friction and getting stuck and tangled up. So thing about your bed sheets is, you can have a high count cotton thread, Egyptian cotton, whatever the fancy shit is. You can have that, but over time, unless you're changing your sheets all the time, over time, those sheets are gonna get kind of worn down, and they're gonna break apart. The little fibers are gonna come off. I don't know if y'all watch Forensic Files, but I watch Forensic Files sometimes, and it's like they be solving crimes with one fiber piece of a piece of carpet. They will solve a crime with anything. So, like, I don't even really know where I was going with that part, but that's just to show that, you know, things shed all the time that we would never think. So yes, you may have some fancy sheets, but switch those fancy sheets out for some satin pillowcases, some satin sheets, and you should already be wearing a satin bonnet, because if you're wearing a cotton bonnet, where did you even get that from? Where'd you get that from? It wasn't no beauty supply I know of. I ain't never seen no cotton bonnet, okay? I know for me, I will literally wear my bonnet all day long. If I'm in the house, which 9 times out of 10 I usually am, I work from home, so I'm always in the house, I always have my bonnet on, to the point where now my bonnet has started to hurt my ears. Like, it hurts my ears when I have it on all day long, just because my ears are being pushed down constantly and there's just something sitting on top. But hey, ain't no lint in my shit, so that's okay. So that's number one, is to always cover your hair up. Now, this is my absolute favorite tip my favorite thing to do when it comes to lint, and that is to shake your locks out. I can't do it now because I got the buffalo buns, whatever you want to call them, but shake your locks out. Like I'm telling you, like just take your locks and just shake them up and down, shake them around, go down them. And I tell people this all the time. If you stand in front of some really good lighting, or like some lights or a window, or if you're even in the car, first of all, don't be in a car with nobody else because you're going to embarrass yourself. Especially if you've never shaken your hair out, do it by yourself. Run to the gas station or something. Get you a pack of gum. Have a reason, because you're going to be embarrassed. But on a serious note, like, that's not to say that your hair is dirty. It's just, you know, like I said, we don't see all this all this dust that just floats around in the air. So it just so happens that it lands in our head and people just don't think, because a lot of the times you cannot see it because it's dust. It's dust particles. You can't see that. So when you take the time to shake your hair out and you can literally see everything floating around, you're going to be like, whoa. I shake my hair out pretty often. I could do it more often, but I always see so much stuff floating around, and I do that for a good at least 5 minutes. And for the whole 5 minutes, you'll just see little stuff floating around, floating around, floating around. So I feel like that's something that's super beneficial. I've always kind of been a little bit more on the rough side with my hair just because of how thick it is. So if you ever see me in my videos and I'm going to town, shaking around, just shake more gently than I do. That's me. That's how I'm with my hair. That's how I've always been. So you don't got to be rough when you shake. Like, either way, I'm sure there's going to be stuff that's going to come out. So just shake your hair up, and yeah, that's that. Okay. This could be both. This could be a tip to prevent and a tip to fix. So the thing about lint is, when it's on your locks and you can see it on your locks, don't think that you're about to just go in the shower and wash your hair and wash it out, because what you're doing is you're inviting it to the cookout, okay? If you see lint in your hair, then you want to take it out before you wet your hair in any way. If you see it and you can get it, take it out, because when you wet your hair, it just embeds that lint into your lock. It just gets more tangled and tangled up with your strands of your hair. So it's harder to get out. It goes deeper in the lock, and it's just a hot mess, especially because, you know, that's the nature of our locks anyway. It's tangled up hair. So it's going to do its thing in there. So the next tip that I'm going to roll into is what you're using to actually dry your hair with. So do not be using no regular towels. Please don't do that. And then if you got the white towels especially, I mean all of them, but them white towels, Lint City, okay? So use either a t-shirt to dry your hair. It's a lot more gentle. It causes a lot less friction in lint, but make sure you obviously don't grab some crumpled up ass linty ass t-shirt, because it's still gonna be linty. So t-shirt, or get like a microfiber towel, or I don't know if they got lint free towels, something like that. Okay, but be mindful of what you're using to dry your hair. Whoa. So the next one that I have for you guys is kind of like a controversial topic in the lock community. I feel like I see more good about it than bad. This is something that I personally did with my last set as well, and that was brushing my locks out. But the brushing, if I could show you guys, I would, but for one, you're not supposed to brush your locks until your locks are fully mature anyway. But that's also another good option. Look into lock brushing if you would like to know more. So the last method of prevention is actually to keep your products at a minimum. So anytime you're putting anything in your hair is more susceptible to attracting dirt, dust, debris, things like that, lint, stuff like that. And that's just because, you know, you're adding something to your hair. And usually, you know, as Black women, men, we're adding, you know, good natural things. But even like your oils, especially your heavier oils, those can attract lint. So you need to be very mindful of how much you're using and what you're using. I'm always going to use my oils because I love using my oils. Like today for my retwist, I use me some aloe juice and rose water spray, but I use Jamaican black castor oil on my locks. And you know, Jamaican black castor oil is a little bit thicker, but hey, that's okay. I try to use sparingly, and I'm going to keep my babies wrapped up. And then I just finished up with some almond oil over top. But you pretty much just want to be mindful, no heavy creams, no super heavy gels, petroleums, and don't be retwisting with Vaseline. I don't know what you use, but don't be doing nothing crazy. Too much of anything is a bad thing. Just be mindful of your products. Okay. So this other one is also kind of like, And that's using apple cider vinegar, detox / soaks, whatever you want to call it, or a clay mask, bentonite, whatever it's called, clay mask. So those are really good for your hair. Now, as far as lint and fixing your lint, it's a little iffy, you know, it's a little up in the air. A lot of people will say, you know, that it breaks down the lint, breaks down those fibers and things like that. And a lot of the times people will find that if they do have a lot of buildup, if they do an apple cider vinegar rinse, it'll bring that buildup to the surface. And before, you probably couldn't see a whole bunch of white spots and everything, but now you can see it, and that's because it brought it all to the surface. But both of them are really good at breaking down buildup and breaking down debris and actually going in and clarifying. But the thing about lint is not product buildup. Lint is, they're little tiny fibers. And if you pretty much wrap string around each other and you put a ball, so let's say this, you have a ball of string, and you wrap a whole bunch of pieces up, twist them, turn them all around together, and then you dip that ball of string into a pile of mud. If you take that muddy pile of string and you put it underneath the water in the sink, you know, maybe use some soap, all the mud is going to come out, but you still have tangles. Your fibers, your strings are still going to be tangled up, and that's the same deal as lint. So just know, if you're doing an apple cider vinegar or a clay mask for lint specifically, that may not rectify your issue, because lint it's tangled up, it's fibers, it's not just product residue. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a method of removal. Now, this method of removal, I don't think this is something that I've ever personally done, and that's because I've done worse. I've done some really, really bad things to my last set of locks due to lint and like build up. I didn't have a lot of issues with my last sets in terms of that, but I know there were certain spots where I literally dug at my lock and picked through my lock until I broke a hole in it or completely broken it off. I've done some damage. So these tweezers, remember what I said about surface lint? A lot of these things, these methods, solutions are for surface lint only. Now, if you have a little piece of lint that you can see and you're like, oh, like, let me get it off, take your tweezers and pick very, very gently. I'm sure you can find plenty of videos where people show that. I've seen quite a few. I even seen one girl, beautiful, she uses cuticle cutters, like a dull pair of cuticle cutters to get the lint out of her locks. So just please take this advice with a grain of salt. Some really like seasoned locticians, things like that, they probably would never ever tell you to dig out the lint, because you have to realize, if you're digging lint, like trying to dig out the lint in a lock, you're compromising your lock's integrity. You're compromising the formation of your lock. You're leaving a hole in your lock, regardless of how big it is or how small it is. So the only time that I would say to use this is if you are literally picking a piece of lint off the surface that you just can't grab with your fingers or whatever, and it may be a little tangled up, but you were able to pull it out softly and gently. But you really should not ever pick in your lock. This is for surface lint only. Now, this next one is something that it was completely new to me, just from doing research over the time. And I believe this tip actually came from the digital loctician. And this was genius, absolutely genius. But she said that she got it from another loctician as well. But it's to actually use Velcro. That just sounds amazing. Like, why did we never think of that? I feel like as long as you get, like, once again, surface lint, lint on the surface, okay? Not lint down, deep down, all that. Because I'll be damned if somebody grab one of their locks and curl it up or something. This is their lock like this, and you just going ham with some Velcro and you're ripping out little strands of your hair, and then your lock ends up frayed and everything like that because it's damaged. Don't do that, and damn sure don't say I told you to do that, okay? Don't do that. She said that's one of the best ways that she has worked with, and she said it's just so easy. Take a piece of Velcro, and if you got some surface lint, tap it on there and get that off. Like I said, I haven't tried that. That's genius though. I will definitely try it. Now, probably the biggest, so this is last but definitely not least, but probably one of the biggest things that you're gonna hear is to just dye your hair. Just dye your hair. Like, and that's a genuine answer. A lot of people will not recommend any of the other methods that I've said. They will just tell you to literally just dye your hair. You can dye your hair the same color that it already is, dye it your natural color, but dyeing it, you will no longer see it until obviously, you know, the dye will wear off eventually. Now you're just gonna have to dye it again. I've heard some people using a permanent marker. I mean, hey, I guess that works too. I mean, that probably wouldn't be the first thing I would do, but hey, just dye it, color, whatever you want to do. So team, if nothing else, we learned to wear that damn bonnet or that scarf. If nothing else, or have some satin pillowcases. That's the least that you want to do, if nothing else, but prevention is key. I hope that you guys all have a fabulous, beautiful week, and I will see you guys next week for the next video.